The expensive heels clicked against the marble floor of Anderson Morris law firm, each step echoing with the distinct sound of privilege and contempt. I'd know that walk anywhere, my sister Charlotte, arriving fashionably late as usual, probably expecting the world to wait for her. I kept my eyes fixed on my worn sneakers, remembering all the times she'd mocked them. God, Sarah, do you actually shop at outlet stores? How embarrassing. But these shoes had walked me through medical school, through countless hospital shifts, through the quiet building of an empire nobody knew about. Uncle Robert's funeral had been yesterday, while Charlotte had made a show of crying dramatically in her designer black dress. I'd stood quietly at the back, genuinely mourning the man who'd changed my life, the man who'd seen something in me that my own family had missed. Well, if it isn't my little sister, still dressing like a college student. Charlotte's voice dripped with disdain as she settled into the leather chair across from me, smoothing her Chanel skirt. I suppose Uncle Robert felt sorry for you, leaving you some of his old books or something. I didn't respond. 10 years of her jabs had taught me patience. Instead, I touched the simple silver key pendant around my neck, Uncle Robert's first gift to me. Knowledge unlocks more doors than gold, he'd said with a wink. I hadn't understood then. I did now. Mr. Anderson, Uncle Robert's lawyer for 30 years, cleared his throat. Now that everyone's here, we can begin. He pulled out a thick folder, and I noticed Charlotte straighten up, her perfectly manicured hands clasped in anticipation. Before we proceed with the will reading, I have a video message from Robert that he asked to be played first. He pressed a button on his laptop, and suddenly Uncle Robert's face filled the screen mounted on the wall. Even Charlotte fell silent. Uncle Robert looked exactly as I remembered him from our last meeting 2 months ago. Distinguished gray hair, kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, and that slight smile that always made you feel like he knew something you didn't. If you're watching this, he began, then I've finally lost my battle with time. But before the official will is read, there are some truths that need to be shared. He paused, his eyes seeming to look straight at us through the screen. 15 years ago, I made a decision that would change everything. I decided to test my potential heirs, not with words, but with actions. I gave each of my nieces an equal opportunity, though they never knew it. Each received a key and access to exactly $1 million in a private account. Charlotte's gasp filled the room. I touched my key pendant again, remembering that day. I'd been a struggling medical student, eating ramen noodles and working part-time. The $1 million had seemed like a miracle. The instructions were simple. Uncle Robert continued. Use the money wisely, invest, learn, grow. But there was one crucial rule: maintain absolute secrecy about the gift. I wanted to see what each of you would do when you thought nobody was watching. I could feel Charlotte's eyes boring into me now. She'd received the same opportunity. Her key had been gold, wrapped in a Tiffany box. She'd probably sold it long ago. Charlotte, Uncle Robert's voice grew stern. You spent your $1 million in exactly 18 months. Designer clothes, luxury cars, expensive apartments. You never once considered investment or growth. When the money ran out, you came back asking for more, claiming you'd been robbed. Charlotte's face had turned pale. That's not. I didn't. Sarah, his voice softened, and I felt tears prick my eyes. You took that $1 million and did everything I hoped you would. You continued living modestly, finished medical school, and quietly built an investment portfolio that would make Warren Buffett proud. You used your medical knowledge to invest in promising biotech startups. You spotted real estate opportunities others missed. And most importantly, you never once breathed a word about your growing wealth to anyone. The room was dead silent now. I could feel Mr. Anderson watching me with new respect. What few people know, Uncle Robert continued, is that Anderson Morris isn't just a law firm. It's the headquarters of Montgomery Industries, a holding company worth over $4.2 billion. And Sarah, my quiet, brilliant niece, owns 85% of it. The sound Charlotte made was somewhere between a choke and a scream. That's impossible. She lives in a tiny house. She drives a 10-year-old Volvo. She buys clothes from Target. Uncle Robert's smile widened. Precisely. Sarah understood the most valuable lesson I could teach. True wealth isn't about showing off. It's about wisdom, patience, and humility. While you were mocking her lifestyle, Charlotte, your sister was building an empire. That tiny house sits on 50 acres of prime real estate. That old Volvo? Sarah owns the entire dealership chain. And those outlet store clothes? She's the majority stakeholder in the company. I watched as Charlotte's perfectly made-up face crumpled. All those years of snide comments, of excluding me from family events because I'd embarrass her in front of her rich friends, of telling our parents I was wasting my potential by not pursuing an MBA like her, it all came crashing down. But But I'm the one with the business degree, Charlotte sputtered. I'm the one who married into the Richardson family. I'm the one who knows about wealth management. And yet, Uncle Robert's voice was gentle but firm. You're also the one who's 3 months away from bankruptcy. Yes, Charlotte, I know about the debt, the mortgages, the credit cards. I know everything. The silence that followed was deafening. Charlotte's perfect facade had cracked completely now, mascara-tinged tears rolling down her cheeks. Mr. Anderson will now read the official will, Uncle Robert concluded. But remember this, money doesn't reveal character. It reveals priorities. Sarah, you've made me prouder than you'll ever know. The empire is yours, my dear. You've more than earned it. The screen went dark, but the aftermath of Uncle Robert's revelations continued to ripple through the room. Charlotte had slumped in her chair, all pretense of superiority gone. Mr. Anderson was shuffling his papers, preparing to read the official will, but we all knew the biggest bombshell had already dropped. I touched my simple silver key pendant one last time, feeling its familiar edges. All these years, it had been more than just a key to a bank account. It had been a key to a test of character, a test I hadn't even known I was taking. But this was just the beginning. As Charlotte's mascara-stained face turned toward me, a mix of desperation and calculation in her eyes, I knew the real test was about to start. How would I handle this power? What would I do with this empire? Uncle Robert had taught me well, but now it was time to write my own story. The real drama was just beginning. The next few hours passed in a blur of legal documents and revelations. Mr. Anderson methodically detailed the full extent of my inheritance, multiple real estate holdings, controlling interests in 12 major companies, and a charitable foundation I hadn't even known existed. With each disclosure, Charlotte seemed to shrink further into her designer chair. But I knew my sister. The calculating look in her eyes told me she wasn't done yet. Sure enough, as soon as Mr. Anderson stepped out to get additional paperwork, Charlotte's entire demeanor changed. The tears vanished, replaced by a honey-sweet smile I'd seen her use countless times to get what she wanted. Sarah, darling, she cooed, sliding her chair closer. We need to talk about this as sisters. Family should stick together, don't you think? I raised an eyebrow, remembering last Christmas when she'd told our parents I couldn't attend the family dinner because my shabby appearance would embarrass her in front of her in-laws. You've always been the smart one, she continued, reaching for my hand. I pulled away subtly. Think about it, with my business connections and your new resources, we could be unstoppable. The Richardson family would love to partner with Montgomery Industries. The same Richardson family that called me a charity case at your wedding? I kept my voice neutral, but Charlotte flinched. That was a misunderstanding. Besides, that's all in the past. We're talking about the future now. Billions in assets need proper management. You're a doctor, Sarah. What do you know about running a corporate empire? Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Uncle Robert's old assistant. Maria, check your email. Important message from R. Time sensitive. I opened my laptop, ignoring Charlotte's attempts to peek at the screen. There it was, an email from Uncle Robert, scheduled to be sent today. With trembling fingers, I clicked play on the attached video. Hello again, Sarah. Uncle Robert's familiar face appeared. If you're watching this, then Charlotte has already started trying to manipulate her way into control of the company. She'll mention the Richardsons, her business degree, and your lack of corporate experience. I couldn't help but smile. Even now, Uncle Robert was 2 steps ahead. But what Charlotte doesn't know is that you've been running Montgomery Industries for the past 5 years. Charlotte's gasp beside me was audible. Remember all those research papers I asked you to review? The theoretical business cases we discussed over coffee? Every single one was a real situation facing Montgomery Industries. Every decision you made, every solution you suggested, they were implemented in real time. The board knows you, Sarah. They've been working with you all along, though they knew you as Dr. Montgomery, our mysterious consultant. Memories flooded back, late-night discussions about market strategy, detailed analyses of potential acquisitions, careful plans for company expansions. I thought it was just Uncle Robert indulging my interest in business alongside medicine, but he'd been preparing me all along. The board meeting is scheduled for tomorrow morning, he continued. They're expecting Dr. Montgomery to finally appear in person. It's time to step into the light, my dear. The video ended, leaving Charlotte staring at me with a mixture of shock and growing horror. You, all this time, she stammered. The office door opened, and Mr. Anderson returned, followed by a distinguished-looking group of people, the board members I'd spoken with countless times but never met in person. Dr. Montgomery, the chairman smiled warmly. extending his hand. It's wonderful to finally meet you face to face. Your strategy for the Asian market expansion was brilliant. Charlotte jumped up, her Chanel suit wrinkled from sitting. This is ridiculous. I'm filing a lawsuit. She tricked everyone, pretending to be poor while secretly running the company. Actually, Mr. Anderson interjected smoothly. Everything was done completely legally. Sarah never lied about her wealth, she simply chose not to flaunt it. And as for running the company, she's more than qualified. Besides her medical degree, she also has a master's in business administration from Harvard's Knight program. This was news to Charlotte. Knight program? But you were always working at the hospital. I smiled, remembering those exhausting years. Days at the hospital, nights at Harvard. Some of us don't need to show off our education, Charlotte, we just do the work. But, Charlotte's eyes darted around the room, looking for allies and finding none. What about my children? Your own niece and nephew, you'd leave them with nothing? You mean the children you wouldn't let me see because I might contaminate them with my middle-class mindset? I kept my voice gentle. Don't worry, Uncle Robert already set up trust funds for them, with the condition that they work summer jobs and maintain good grades. They'll have opportunities, but they'll have to earn them. Charlotte's face turned an interesting shade of purple. This isn't over, she hissed, grabbing her designer bag. Wait until Mother and Father hear about this. They already know, Mr. Anderson said calmly. They received their own video from Robert this morning, explaining everything, including, I believe, some rather interesting details about how you've been embezzling from their retirement fund. Charlotte froze, her hand on the doorknob. The police have probably arrived at your house by now, I added softly. Uncle Robert kept very detailed records. The next few minutes were chaos, Charlotte screaming, security being called, my sister being escorted out while threatening lawsuits and revenge. Through it all, I sat quietly, the weight of my silver key pendant reassuring against my chest. After she was gone, the chairman turned to me. Well, Dr. Montgomery, shall we discuss the future of the company? I stood up, smoothing down my simple black pants. Actually, I'd like to start with the charitable foundation. I have some ideas about medical scholarships for underprivileged students. The board members exchanged approving looks. Uncle Robert had chosen well. That evening, I drove my old Volvo back to my tiny house, all 8,000 square feet of it, hidden behind mature trees on my private estate. As I changed out of my work clothes, my phone beeped with news alerts. Montgomery Industries reveals new CEO. Doctor takes helm of billion-dollar empire, scandal rocks. Richardson family, fraud allegations surface, local doctor's secret life as corporate mastermind. I smiled, remembering Uncle Robert's words from years ago. Success isn't about showing off wealth, it's about using it wisely. A text came through from my parents. We had no idea. All these years, we're so sorry we doubted you. Can we come over to talk? Another text followed. This one from Charlotte's husband. The police are here. Charlotte's being arrested. Please, the children. I'd already instructed Mr. Anderson to ensure my niece and nephew would be taken care of. They'd stay with my parents while their mother faced justice, with full access to their trust funds for education. Unlike their mother, they'd learn the value of hard work and humility. Later that night, sitting in my study overlooking the garden Uncle Robert had helped me design, I opened his final gift, a leather-bound journal. Inside, in his elegant handwriting, was written, Dear Sarah, money doesn't make a person worthy of respect, their actions do. You proved yourself worthy not because you grew the fortune I gave you, but because you remained true to yourself while doing it. The empire is yours now, but I know you understand its true purpose, to make the world a little better, one wise decision at a time. Your proud uncle, Robert. I closed the journal, feeling at peace. Tomorrow, I'd go back to my hospital rounds in the morning. I had no intention of giving up medicine. Then head to Montgomery Industries for my first official board meeting as CEO. The media would speculate about my double life. Charlotte would probably try to fight the charges, and society would buzz about the secret billionaire doctor. But none of that mattered. I had work to do, lives to save, and an empire to run, not for the glory or the wealth, but because with great power comes great responsibility. And Uncle Robert had taught me well.